15 accountants failed, but the delivery girl's heartwarming warning exposed an incredible truth. Jenna zipped through the busy streets of Chicago on her trusty bike, the wind whipping her hair back. She had a purpose: to deliver packages and support her ailing mother. Every single cent she earned mattered. As the sun peeked through the skyscrapers, Jenna's heart swelled with determination. She envisioned a bright future, each night class bringing her closer to becoming an accountant. But the reality of the world around her was fogged by economic struggles. Each turn of her pedals felt heavy under the weight of disparity, but today was different. She swung by her favorite cafe, a beacon of warmth in the bustling neighborhood. The corner shop was an oasis where laughter mingled with the rich aromas of coffee and freshly baked goods. It felt like home. As she stepped inside to drop off a package, she caught snippets of conversation from a nearby table. 15 accountants, all suits and judgment, were snickering about the cafe owner's financial troubles. Their laughter cut through her like a knife. "Can you believe they're still open?" One sneered. "It's just a matter of time before they go under." Jenna's heart ached. This cafe wasn't just a business. It was a lifeline for her community, a reflection of her family's struggles. Summoning her courage, she stepped forward, fists clenched at her sides. "Excuse me," she interrupted, her voice steady yet firm, "but what you're saying isn't right. This place provides jobs, comfort, community. Success isn't just about profits." The accountants turned, their eyes widening. To them, she was just a delivery girl, but her words struck a chord. Jenna could feel the weight of rising indignation filling the room. She walked away, her chest tight. She had dared to speak out, to challenge their indifference. Yet she felt a flicker of hope. She might just have planted a seed of doubt. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Days passed, but Jenna's words echoed in the accountants' minds. A sudden crisis hit the cafe, an economic blow that reverberated through the entire neighborhood. This was a moment they couldn't ignore. The once complacent accountants scrambled, debating whether to let the cafe falter or step in to help the community they had so easily mocked. As Jenna worked, she noticed how people began to rally around their beloved cafe. Her heart swelled with pride. Maybe her voice mattered. She watched as support poured in. The accountants, now realizing the place they had once dismissed as a mere business was integral to their way of life. Yet, recognition at a community gathering pulled her in different directions. As applause erupted, Jenna felt conflicted. She was being celebrated, but the cafe's future still hung in the balance. She scanned the crowd's diverse faces and questioned, could true redemption begin without confronting her own privilege? A storm brewed inside her, echoing loudly amidst the cheers. Jenna stood at a crossroads, her spirit ignited yet tethered by uncertainty. The accountants faced their own reckoning as glimmers of hope collided with their past arrogance. Would they make the right choice in a moment of truth? The air was thick with anticipation, leaving her anxiously wondering what lay ahead. The days that followed transformed into a whirlwind of thoughts and emotions for Jenna. With each passing hour, the uncertainty about the cafe's future gnawed at her. The community rallied, but would it be enough? Standing at her doorstep each morning, she wondered if she would see her parents' hopes reflected in the flourishing cafe or the bleak of its closing doors. One evening, while sifting through the packages to deliver, she glanced at her phone buzzing with notifications. Messages poured in, filled with gratitude from local business owners, many affected by the same harsh winds of economic change. They thanked her for her courage to speak up. It warmed her heart, but the weight of real change pressed heavily on her shoulders. It was more than just words, they needed action. As Jenna pedaled through the streets, a familiar scene caught her eye. A few of the accountants were gathered outside the cafe, deep in conversation. She felt a mix of trepidation and curiosity. What were they discussing? Taking a deep breath, she braced herself and slowed her bike, eavesdropping as she fixed her gaze on their animated expressions. "I think we need to do something," one of them said, urgency palpable in their tone. Not just for the cafe, but for everyone in the neighborhood. We can help, and maybe, just maybe, we can make a difference too. The words spun around her mind. There was a shift in their intent. Had her warning sparked something deeper in them? They exchanged hands, nodding to each other, planning some form of support. Unable to contain her emotions, Jenna approached with a cautious heart. Hey, she hesitated, unsure of how they would react. Their faces turned towards her, initially startled, but then softened with recognition. Jenna, right? One of them replied, managing an awkward smile. Look, we've been thinking. Your words, they really hit home. We want to help the cafe survive this crisis. Her heart raced. Hope and skepticism battled within her. You do? How? We're proposing a community fundraiser, another accountant chimed in. We want to leverage our networks, bring in resources to support local businesses. It'll be a way to show the community that we care, not just about profits, but about people. Jenna felt a surge of emotions. Could this be the turning point they all needed? That sounds incredible. But can the accountants really follow through on this? It seems too good to be true. A woman spoke up, determination in her voice. We're ready to put in the work. You opened our eyes, Jenna. We're more than just numbers. For the first time, Jenna smiled. The possibility washed over her like the warm light of dawn. But a lingering question remained: would this newfound camaraderie last? Would they truly follow through when things got tough? As they hashed out the details, her mind drifted to her mom, her hard work and sacrifice. This was about more than a cafe, more than the money. It was about building community and lifting each other up. Just as she took a deep breath, ready to speak out with her thoughts, her phone buzzed again, a message viewing her attention. It was from a friend. A call for donations to support struggling business owners flooded her screen. Something was shifting in the air. Would she prove herself a catalyst for change, or would chaos rise again? The need to answer these questions weighed on her mind as they spoke. As the sun sank low, casting an orange glow over the cafe, Jenna's thoughts raced ahead. Would her story become one of endurance and unity, or yet another tale of defeat? The stage was almost set, but as excitement crackled in anticipation, she felt the shadow of uncertainty loom larger. What if the pressure became too much for her and the accountants? She swallowed hard. Deep down, an unshakable urge thrummed, a feeling that this next chapter could either make or break them all. The next morning, Jenna awoke with a sense of purpose that surged through her veins like strong coffee. She stared at the sunlight filtering through her window, a soft reminder of what was at stake. Today could be more than just another day. It could be a turning point for everyone who depended on the cafe. As she arrived at the cafe, excitement whipped around her like a summer breeze. The accountants were already there, gathered around a table with fervor. They shared papers and ideas, their voices mingling in dynamic energy. It felt like they were crafting a lifeline, and Jenna could hardly believe how the tide had shifted overnight. Let us meet later to finalize everything, one of the accountants suggested, his voice confident. We want this fundraiser to show the heart of our community, not just our financial clout. The others nodded, determination etched on their faces. Jenna felt her heart swell. Gone was the overwhelming anxiety that had once clouded her thoughts. She approached them, and as they turned to her, she saw hope reflected back. Thank you for stepping up, she said, her voice shaky with emotion. This means everything to me and to the community. They all smiled back at her, a small but fierce coalition united by a purpose greater than themselves. The day unfolded in a blur of activity. Jenna dove into organizing the event. There were flyers to design, businesses to contact for donations, and a social media campaign to kick off. Each small task felt like a step towards something monumental. As the hours ticked away, Jenna was electrified by the enthusiasm that spread among the townsfolk. Local musicians offered to play for free, bakeries pledged goodies, and various artisans stepped forward with handmade items to auction. Her phone pinged constantly, each notification a glimpse of people caring, truly caring, about one another. But amidst the excitement, an unsettling thought curled in the back of her mind. What if the event fell flat? What if no one showed up? The promise of support felt fragile, and with it came a fear of disappointment. Later that evening, while Jenna was sorting through donations at the cafe, her friend Lisa arrived with a concerned look on her face. You okay? You seem a bit off, she asked, folding her arms across her chest. Jenna sighed, running a hand through her hair. I guess I just feel the weight of everything. What if this doesn't work? So many people are counting on us. Lisa stepped closer, her voice soothing. Remember why you're doing this. It's not just about saving the cafe. It's about building connections, letting the community see that they matter. That's what it's all about. Jenna nodded slowly, feeling Lisa's words seep into her soul. You're right. If we touch even a handful of lives, it'll be worth it. And so, with a renewed spirit, she embraced the challenge ahead of her. As they wrapped up, the cafe transformed into a hub of anticipation, laughter erupting from every corner. Rehearsals for the live entertainment kicked into gear, and conversations crackled with hope and excitement. But just as the night settled in, Jenna received an unexpected message that made her stomach drop. A huge corporation was planning to host a similar event on the same day. How would they compete against something so big? The shadow of doubt crept back into her mind. Would the community still rally for their small, heartfelt fundraiser? With a heavy heart, Jenna paced the cafe floor, uncertainty racing through her. What if this turned into yet another failure, just like so many other businesses had experienced? As her eyes scanned the room, she saw the spark of determination in each person's expressions. Suddenly, she realized that the truth wasn't merely about competing, it was about creating an authentic experience that resonated with their shared struggles. What would Jenna choose to do now? Would she step forward with a plan to refocus their efforts? Or would she succumb to the clamoring fears of doubt? As she stood amidst the flickering light of hope, Jenna felt the weight of community on her shoulders. Could she keep that flame alive? The night deepened, but Jenna had no intention of backing down. She grasped the resolve in her heart. Tomorrow would be vital. It was time to see whether their small flame could outshine the glitz of the big corporation. The next morning dawned with an electric energy that made Jenna's heart race as she prepared for the day ahead. The cafe smelled like fresh coffee, a comforting reminder that she was exactly where she needed to be. But today felt heavier. The news of the corporate event lingered in her mind, a shadow that refused to retreat into the background. She quickly dressed, glancing out the window at the vibrant community beyond. People were already beginning to gather for the day, and that familiar warmth surged within her. This was her town, her people all ready to support something real. Those thoughts fortified her resolve. Arriving at the cafe, Jenna spotted Lisa setting up tables outside. As she approached, Lisa looked up with a grin that radiated determination. Ready for today? She asked, wiping her hands on her apron. More than ever, Jenna replied, her voice a bit more confident than she felt inside. A whirlwind of tasks awaited, but the first was to announce an impromptu morning meeting with the team. She wanted to address the looming fear, to make sure everyone was aligned and optimistic. Gathering everyone in a circle, Jenna took a deep breath. Tomorrow is the day, and I know we just got hit with some unexpected competition. She looked at each of them in turn, observing the worry etched on their faces and the flicker of doubt in their eyes. But I believe in what we're doing. This isn't just about raising money for the cafe. It's about coming together, appreciating each other, and weathering the storm as a community. A murmur of agreement rippled through the group. Jenna felt the warmth return, reassuring her that they were still on the right path. Let us make it a day to remember, she continued. Let us show them what our community really means. As they went about their tasks with renewed vigor, she noticed a little girl from the neighborhood, about 6 years old, standing outside the cafe with a handmade sign that read, I heart our cafe. The sight tugged at Jenna's heartstrings. It reminded her why this mattered. Hey, you, Jenna called, beckoning the girl to come inside. The child's bright eyes widened as she sprinted toward the entrance, excitement bouncing in her every step. What is your name? Lucy, she chirped, clutching her sign like it was made of gold. Lucy, thank you for your beautiful sign. Would you like to help us today? Jenna asked. Yes, Lucy squealed, her enthusiasm infectious. All right, let us make some cupcakes together, Jenna said, a grin spreading across her face. Time flew by as the cafe buzzed with energy. Lucy, with flour-dusted hands, carefully stirred bowls while local bakers brought sweet delights. Each new batch of treats was met with laughter and chatter, the sound of unity that Jenna had been aching to capture. But then, a sliver of doubt crashed back in. What if the bigger event overshadowed their efforts? When she glanced at her phone, The notifications rolled in, one being a social media post boasting about the corporation's event and its high-profile guests. Anxiety twisted in her stomach. Jenna turned to Lisa, who was busy sorting through donated items. Do you think we'll even draw a crowd? What if our event just drowns amid their glamour? Just then, Lucy returned, holding a cupcake proudly in her tiny hands. Look, it's for you. The sight melted Jenna's worries for just a moment. Thank you, sweet girl. This looks amazing. Seeing Lucy's pure excitement reminded her that it wasn't about the numbers or the competition. It was about the people who mattered and the community that thrived on connection. Suddenly, a thought struck her. Lisa, what if we turn this around? Let us create a campaign around our sincere mission, what the cafe represents. Lisa raised an eyebrow. You mean, like let people know why it's important? Exactly. If we pour our hearts into sharing this story, maybe that's what will draw people in, Jenna said, her mind racing. Let us show them we're not just a cafe, we're the heart of this town. They quickly moved into action, drafting posts for social media that told their story. With Lucy's help, they made signs echoing their purpose. Join us for love, connection, and community. As the sun began to dip low in the sky, Jenna felt the weight of excitement return, mingling with her remaining fears. They hadn't outdone the corporation yet, but they were creating something beautiful. Now it was time to see if the community would respond. The cafe glowed like a beacon, and Jenna could only hope that the warmth emanating from within would draw in the crowds. Would they rise together or be overshadowed by the looming corporate event? As Jenna looked around at the faces determined to stand by her side, she knew one thing was true. They had each other, and that made all the difference. But would it be enough? Tomorrow would tell the tale. The sun rose higher, casting a golden hue over the cafe as the day of the big event finally arrived. Jenna stood behind the counter, surrounded by the aromas of fresh-brewed coffee and sweet pastries, her heart fluttering with anticipation and anxiety. Today was more than just a fundraiser. It was a chance to show everyone what their community truly meant. She glanced around the cafe and spotted familiar faces, all gathered with purpose. Lisa was busy organizing the donated items for the silent auction. The local artists had contributed works that celebrated their town, filling the space with color and creativity. It felt like a canvas of togetherness. Lucy was there too, her innocent joy a grounding force, assisting in arranging the cupcakes they had so lovingly made. Her laughter was infectious, lifting Jenna's spirits. Yet, as the clock ticked closer to the event's start time, another glance at her phone revealed an alarming influx of notifications. The corporate event was trending online, complete with professional photos of high-profile guests posing against glamorous backdrops. Jenna's shoulders sagged under the weight of comparison. How could they compete with that kind of opulence? Jenna. Lisa's voice pierced through her thoughts, drawing her back to the moment. We've gotta get ready. People are starting to arrive. Taking a deep breath, Jenna focused on what lay directly in front of her. You're right. Let us show them this can be just as special. She forced a smile, pushing the doubts to the back of her mind. Right, everyone. This is our moment. The door swung open, and the first few customers trickled in. Jenna greeted them warmly, her voice steady despite the nervous flutter in her stomach. Each new face was a reminder of their support, their belief in the little cafe that could. She couldn't help but notice the smiles and laughter. This was what she had fought for. More people flowed through the entrance, drawn in by the vibrant atmosphere and the smell of bakery treats. A sense of hope blossomed within Jenna, fueled by the familiar energy of her community. But with every heartwarming interaction, an unsettling thought nagged at her. What if it wasn't enough? As the afternoon wore on, Jenna found herself in a corner, watching the crowd. The laughter echoed around her, but her heart raced as the digital world outside their cafe continued to buzz with excitement over the corporate event. Maybe it was destined to steal their thunder. Just then, Lucy ran up to her, eyes bright with energy. Jenna, look. In her tiny hands, she held another cupcake, this time colorful sprinkles gleaming like jewels. This one's for you. It's the prettiest one. Jenna knelt to meet her eye level, touched by the gesture. Thank you, Lucy. You always know how to make me smile. In that moment, Jenna felt a warmth spread through her chest. It was all about the little things, the connections, the community. They weren't just fighting for a cafe. They were fighting for heart, Yet, just as she took a moment to breathe, a commotion erupted near the entrance. Jenna glanced up to find a small group of people emerging from the streets. They appeared intrigued, drawn by the laughter and chatter wrapping around the cafe like a cozy blanket. Jenna squinted through the door, hope flickering again. "Look at that line forming," Lisa exclaimed, excitement bubbling over. "They're coming in." The air crackled with thrill. Jenna joined her at the window, disbelief washing over her. Could it be the crowd she had hoped for? As people began to stream in, Jenna couldn't shake the feeling that this moment was a turning point. Yet, how would it all come together? A lingering worry remained in the pit of her stomach. Would they be enough to face down the challenge ahead of them? As the laughter and chatter filled the cafe, Jenna couldn't help but wonder. When all was said and done, would it be love and connection that triumphed? Or would the corporate gleam overshadow their heartfelt efforts? Little did she know that a surprise from an unexpected visitor was about to change everything. Just as the anticipation in the cafe reached a peak, the door swung open again, and in walked a figure Jenna hadn't expected to see: Maya, the local delivery girl. Her entrance brought an unexpected wave of energy, like a gust of fresh air that filled the room. She stood slightly taller than Jenna remembered, and a grin spread across her face, immediately infectious. "Hey everyone," Maya called, her voice bright and buoyant. "I brought a friend." Behind her stood a tall man, casually dressed, with kind eyes and a warm smile. Jenna's confusion lifted as Maya approached the counter, her excitement barely contained. "I told him about your fundraiser, and he wanted to see it for himself," Maya explained, waving a hand toward the man. "This is Oliver. He has been looking for a community project to support." Jenna's breath caught in her throat. A potential supporter, a way to lift their spirits and finances? The thought seemed almost too good to be true. "Hi, Oliver. Welcome. We're thrilled to have you," she managed, forcing back the wave of nervousness. "Thanks. I love what you've done here," he replied, glancing around. "The sense of togetherness is incredible. I've heard so many wonderful things about this cafe, but seeing it in person, wow." Maya lit up. "See, I told you it would be worth it. And there are cupcakes." Jenna chuckled, feeling the warmth of community rushing back into focus. "We've got lots of treats, and all for a great cause." As the crowd thickened, Oliver moved amongst the attendees, chatting easily. Maya hopped around, introducing people, pointing out the auction items, and her buoyancy seemed to pull more folks in. Jenna's heart started to swell with hope. This was what she had envisioned, a tight-knit community celebrating its own. Yet, as laughter rang out and the joyful chatter blurred into a hum, Jenna couldn't shake a creeping feeling that she was still missing something. The corporate event had cast a long shadow, and doubts lingered like dark clouds. Would Oliver's involvement be enough? Suddenly, Lisa rushed over, a flurry of excitement in her voice. "The auction bids are coming in. We're actually getting some attention." "That's amazing," Jenna exclaimed, unable to help the smile spreading across her face. Her heart surged. Maybe they were actually making an impact. Just then, the door opened yet again, this time with a gust of chilly wind that made Jenna shudder. She turned, a mixture of trepidation and curiosity washing over her. Standing in the doorway, silhouetted by the sunlight behind him, was a man in a sharp suit. He looked like he belonged to the corporate world, an anomaly amidst the warm pulse of homemade crafts and simple joy. The room fell quiet as he stepped in, the atmosphere shifting tangibly. "Jenna," he said, his tone steady but slightly challenging. "I heard about what you're doing, and I need to talk to you." Everyone stared, a mix of apprehension and anticipation hanging in the air. Jenna's heartbeat quickened. Who was this man, and what did he want? As he approached, she felt an inexplicable tension twist in her gut. Did he come to steal their moment or support their cause? "I'm here regarding the corporate event," he continued, "and I think we need to discuss how we can work together." Confusion clouded Jenna's thoughts. What could this mean for their fundraiser? Would this lead to a collaboration or a collision of interests? Jenna couldn't tell if her heart raced from excitement or dread as the stakes suddenly felt higher than ever. But one thing darted to the forefront of her mind. Was this the unexpected change they needed, or a complication that could tear them apart? The moment was charged, thick with tension, leaving Jenna wondering if this was merely a new beginning or the brink of something much greater. Jenna stood frozen, the crowd around her buzzing with whispers and curious glances. The man in the suit stepped closer, his eyes locking onto hers with an intensity that made her heart race. She wanted to ask him a million questions, but the words caught in her throat. "Who are you?" She finally managed, her voice shaking slightly. "What do you mean by work together?" "My name is David," he replied smoothly, adjusting his tie with a practiced ease. "I'm with Reynolds Company, the same firm that was organizing that event. To be frank, I see potential in what you're doing here." "A potential for what?" Jenna felt a rush of defiance. "This is about our community, not about some corporation looking to profit off our efforts." He held up his hands in a placating gesture. "I understand your hesitation, but let me be clear, I'm not here to take advantage. I want a partner." The cafe hummed with subdued laughter and clinking cups, but everything felt muted now, focused solely on the two of them. David continued, "You're clearly passionate about this cause, and your fundraiser is getting attention. What if we help amplify that? We can provide marketing resources, financial backing. It could be a win-win situation." Jenna considered his words. The thought of more funds and support was enticing, but at what cost? "What is the catch?" she asked, narrowing her gaze at him. "There's no catch," he insisted, almost earnestly. "Our firm believes in community investment. Plus, it enhances our public image. It's as simple as that." Those words hung in the air, heavy with implication. Yet, the uncertainty gnawed at Jenna. She could feel the hope flaring inside her, but there was also fear that intertwining with a corporation might mean losing control over their cause. As she deliberated, she noticed Oliver nearby, watching intently. He approached them, a thoughtful expression on his face. "I understand where you're coming from, Jenna," he spoke gently, "but wouldn't it be worth exploring? At the very least, it's a conversation." Before Jenna could respond, Lisa, caught up in curiosity, sauntered over, overhearing snippets of the discussion. "What is going on? Are we getting a corporate sponsor or something?" "Kind of," Jenna replied, glancing back at David with a mix of apprehension and intrigue. David jumped in. "I want to help elevate this event. You've gathered such a fantastic crowd here. Imagine reaching even more people, making a bigger impact than you thought possible." The tension wrapped around Jenna like a tight hug. Part of her wanted to grasp any opportunity that could breathe life into their dreams, but the other part bristled at the thought of potentially losing the heart of what they had worked so hard to build. The lively atmosphere of the cafe buzzed around her. Jenna felt a deep pull, a battle between hope and caution. David's confident smile was reassuring, but it also felt like a mask, hiding whatever hidden agendas he might have. "Can I think about this?" she asked, her heart beating rapidly. "There's a lot to consider." "Of course," David replied smoothly. "Take your time. But just remember that sometimes, the best opportunities come wrapped in packages we don't expect." With that, he walked away, blending back into the crowd as if he belonged there all along. The tension in the room seemed to melt, but Jenna's mind raced. She noticed Lisa's curious glance and knew they'd be discussing this for weeks. Oliver leaned closer, his voice low. "You okay? This is a lot to process." "I don't know if it's good or bad," Jenna admitted, rubbing her temples. "But one thing is for sure, we're at a crossroads." And just as she took a deep breath, letting the weight of the moment settle in, Maya appeared at her side, practically bouncing with excitement. "Did you hear that? An actual partnership. This could be big." Jenna forced a smile, but inside, everything felt torn. Was this the breakthrough they needed, or just another layer to the complexity of their dreams? As the cafe buzzed with the warmth of community, she couldn't shake the unease that lingered. Would pursuing this partnership strengthen their mission or lead them down a path they'd regret? Jenna's heart raced with uncertainty as Oliver's gaze met hers, a shared signal that this was only the beginning of what lay ahead. In the chaos of excitement and concern, she knew they needed to decide soon whether to embrace this unexpected turn. Would they rise together, or find themselves unraveling in a corporate web? As Jenna stood in the cafe, the noise of laughter and clinking cups faded into the background. All she could hear now was her pulse, thundering in her ears, drowning out the conversations swirling around her. Oliver's concerned face and Maya's eager energy blended into an abstract mosaic of unfamiliar feelings. "I need to sit down," she muttered, gripping the edge of the table. David's offer echoed in her mind. igniting a flurry of thoughts. She had poured her soul into this initiative, forming connections with people who genuinely cared. Was it worth sacrificing that for a promise of growth? Let us grab a booth, Oliver suggested, gently steering her towards a corner table away from prying eyes. Maya followed, practically bouncing on her toes, her excitement palpable. Jenna, you have to see this as a huge opportunity. More resources mean more reach, Maya insisted, her wide eyes sparkling. Think how many lives we could touch, or how much we could lose if this goes wrong, Jenna replied, feeling a weight settle on her chest. What if they change everything we've built? This is our baby. Maybe we need to ask ourselves what we really want, Oliver said thoughtfully. He leaned forward, folding his arms on the table. Do we want to grow? Or do we want to stay small, but keep complete control? Both choices come with a price. Jenna looked around the cafe, watching familiar faces. Each one had a story to share, a reason behind their support. I don't want to just be another project for them to showcase, she sighed, staring down at her hands. Maya's enthusiasm dimmed, replaced with a sense of understanding. But if Reynolds' company can truly help, isn't it worth considering? We can involve them while keeping our voice, she replied softly. Yeah, but it wouldn't just be about us anymore, Jenna said, the familiar fire of passion sparking in her voice. What if we become just a line in their quarterly report? How will I look them in the eye when they ask for adjusted goals to meet their bottom line? Oliver nodded. That's a legitimate concern. But maybe you'd find ways to blend your vision with their resources. It wouldn't be easy, but it could work. Jenna felt stuck, navigating between desire for support and fear of losing her mission. As she glanced up, she spotted David across the room, sharing laughter with another group. His smile felt like a puzzle piece, beautiful but ultimately foreign to the picture she had created. What if he's not really the villain? Maya mused, biting her lip. What if he's someone who genuinely wants to help? Or what if he's just about the money? Jenna countered, her frustration bubbling. How do we know which it is? Maybe we could set up a meeting, lay everything on the table, Oliver suggested. Ask him the tough questions. Jenna hesitated. Vulnerability had never been her strong suit, yet here she was, standing at the cusp of what could shift everything. I feel like if I take this step, I'm stepping into a world I don't understand. Handing her a cup of coffee, Oliver said gently, that's okay. None of us knows what this looks like yet. We just need to stay true to who we are and what we're fighting for. As she took a sip, Jenna felt a flicker of hope light within her. Maybe they could navigate this new path together, armed with their passion and unity. But deep down, uncertainty lingered like an unwelcome guest, whispering fears in her ear. Just then, a loud commotion erupted from the cafe entrance as a delivery driver burst through the door. Everyone turned to see her frantically waving a paper in the air, shouting above the noise. I have an urgent message, and I need your attention. The crowd fell silent, tension flowing back into the air as Jenna's heart raced. What new twist awaited them now? The delivery girl stood panting, eyes wide with urgency. Her disheveled hair bounced as she moved closer, and her hands shook slightly, clutching the paper like it was a lifeline. Jenna, along with Oliver and Maya, leaned in, curiosity mingling with apprehension. What is it? Maya asked, her voice barely more than a whisper. The delivery girl cleared her throat, an unsteady breath escaping her lips. I was asked to find Jenna, she said, locking eyes with her. This is for you. She thrust the paper forward, and Jenna instinctively reached out. Barely processing the girl's words as she took the paper, Jenna unfolded it. A chart, colorful yet chaotic, splashed across the page. At the top, bold letters read, Urgent Update. New analysis reveals community impact. What does this mean? Oliver asked, peering over Jenna's shoulder. Just read it, the girl urged, glancing over her shoulder as if expecting someone to follow her. Jenna's eyes darted across the page, her heart racing not just from confusion, but from the implications of what she was reading. According to this analysis, community projects funded by large corporations had shown varying levels of success, but one startling statistic stood out: those that retained their original vision, even under corporate oversight, resulted in significantly better outcomes for the community. Wait, Jenna murmured, connecting the dots. If we could integrate their resources but maintain our identity, we might actually make a difference. Exactly, Maya interjected, sensing Jenna's shift in perspective. It's not about losing ourselves. It's about enhancing what we have. She beamed, eyes sparkling with fresh energy. Jenna felt a rush of adrenaline, but it quickly mixed with doubt. But this doesn't tell us about David. We still don't know what his intentions are. What if he's got another agenda? Maybe this is our opportunity to find out, Oliver suggested, now more animated. If we can harness that passion while bringing them in, maybe we can guide them, instead of the other way around. The delivery girl shifted nervously, catching Jenna's attention again. I overheard something in the warehouse about David and his motives. People were saying he's not just about the money. He actually got into this line of work to make a change, too. But what? Jenna pressed. The girl hesitated, glancing at the crowd before lowering her voice. I think he might be stuck in a situation where he needs to prove himself to the higher-ups. There's pressure on him. The message hung heavy in the air. Jenna could feel the weight of it pressing against her chest. Suddenly, what felt like a dilemma began to shift. Perhaps this situation was more complex than good versus bad. Maybe there was room for negotiation, for collaboration. Should we approach him? Maya asked excitedly. If we can show him this, we might align our goals. Wait, Jenna held up a hand, still processing. What if he's not the issue? What if he's scattered, trying to juggle too many expectations? Then it's settled. Oliver rested his elbows on the table with determination. We need to meet him. We can come together and figure out what this partnership could look like before making any hasty decisions. Jenna nodded, feeling the embers of hope reignite within her. But as she rallied her thoughts, that nagging curiosity returned. But what if it backfires? What if we discover something we're not ready for? Her heart raced again, caught between excitement and the unknown. Tension hung thick in the air, as the possibility of change loomed large. The delivery girl suddenly chimed in. I don't know what'll happen, but sometimes, taking that leap can reveal truths you never saw coming. Jenna's breath caught. What if we find out about David's real motivations, and they're not what we expect? What if this meeting reveals more than we're ready to face? With that thought lingering, she realized this was just the beginning. The truth was more complex than she'd ever imagined, and she was a step closer to uncovering it. But deep down, she couldn't shake the feeling that something monumental was about to unfold. Just then, the cafe doors swung open again, and a familiar figure stepped in. Jenna's heart sank. David was here, right on cue. Did he sense their urgency? What would he reveal now? Would this be a chance at clarity or a confrontation that would shatter everything they'd built? Seeing David walk through the door, Jenna's heart raced. It was time, and the moment of truth hung heavy in the air, brimming with hope and uncertainty. He scanned the cafe, his confident demeanor contrasting with the anxious buzz of the crowd. Jenna quickly exchanged glances with Oliver and Maya, their shared determination igniting sparks of resilience. Jenna, David called out, making his way toward her. The buzz of chatter dulled in anticipation as everyone turned to listen. He approached with a calmness that didn't quite reach his eyes. I wanted to discuss the potential of our partnership. Jenna squared her shoulders, her pulse thudding in her ears. Before we go any further, she interrupted, her voice steady but laced with intensity. I think it's important we lay everything on the table. David nodded, a flicker of understanding sparking in his gaze. I completely agree. This needs to be transparent, for both sides to see where we stand. The three of them huddled as David began to outline his ideas. He spoke of resources, marketing strategies, and shared visions of community support. Listening intently, Jenna felt the slight tightening in her chest ease, chiseled away by hope. Yet she was painfully aware of the stakes. Look, Jenna said, her voice slicing through his ongoing presentation. We want to enhance our community, not compromise who we are. What happens to our message if you come in and take over? David met her gaze head-on, and in that moment, Jenna saw the flicker of something deeper. I get it. You're worried about losing the essence of what makes this cafe important. He took a breath, as if weighing his next words. But it's important for me too. I've seen how corporations come and go, leaving devastation in their wake. I didn't get into this business for that. I want to be part of something that lasts, something that matters. Jenna's heart swelled with something like empathy, a connection to his struggles. So what you're saying is that this isn't just about the bottom line for you? Exactly. It's about creating genuine impact, he confessed. I might be caught in corporate pressure, But if we can align our goals together, we could cultivate something beautiful, Maya interjected, her eyes sparkling. If you're truly committed to supporting us, then we could change the narrative. A flicker of hope danced in the room, yet Jenna hesitated. But how do we ensure we'll stay true to our identity? We fought hard for this cafe and the community surrounding it. David took a step closer, his expression earnest. That's why I want to collaborate with you, Jenna. Let us set guidelines. Create a framework that protects the mission and message that you've built. I may have resources, but they can only complement your vision. Jenna glanced at Oliver and Maya, their hopeful expressions echoing back her own burgeoning optimism. Could this be the chance they wanted, an opportunity to expand their reach without losing sight of their heart? With newfound clarity, Jenna took a deep breath. Okay, let us explore this collaboration. But it has to be with clear boundaries and mutual respect. Absolutely, David agreed, relief washing over his features. This can redefine how corporations engage with communities. Let us set this up right. A wave of excitement surged through the cafe, transporting everyone into a ring of hope. As they brainstormed together, Jenna felt the weight on her shoulders shift. She was not backing down from her mission, she was growing it. The crowd outside continued to fill the cafe, each new arrival underscored the strength of their community. With laughter ringing in the air and camaraderie sparking between old and new allies, she finally felt ready to face whatever challenges might come next. Their mission wasn't just to save a small cafe. It was about building a stronger community, and to Jenna, this was only the beginning. No longer trapped by fear, she felt excitement ripple through her as they created a shared vision for tomorrow. Jenna's heart swelled as Oliver and Maya joined in the fervor of discussion. This is what it's about, she thought, looking around at their little cafe filled with warmth, laughter, and promise. Together, we will rise and transform our community. And as she embraced this new chapter, Jenna knew deep down that love and connection would always triumph over doubt and despair. They would build a future together. Now it's your turn to support. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next inspiring story. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help spread the message. Comment below your thoughts and feelings about this heartwarming ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to witness this genuine transformation. You need to act now. This is the moment to show your support.